say this. When it comes to Monday and Tuesday, I was thoroughly pissed off. Monday made no... I know a lot of people say the gauntlet match was awesome, but it made no sense. It didn't help none of the 7 guys there. And then they forgo caring about the women, caring about the tag teams, caring about anything on that show. Excuse me. Nothing mattered to them except that gauntlet match, and it was not a good gauntlet match for the simple reason it didn't help any of the guys going into the chamber. You should have done something with the women going into that chamber, but you gave them a 6-woman tag. And you went on to SmackDown, you gave us a 6-woman tag, a match with AJ Styles, even though AJ and Baron Corbin did an alright job. But the rest of the thing was nothing. SmackDown was nothing. So for those 2 days, I was angry until I saw this show, which was good. It easily made my mood better. Now, I want to get over Lashley Edwards and OVE. I got to get it done first. Because when it comes to Lashley, he could have had a better feud coming back from the top team situation into this. Honestly, you guys tell me below, what couldn't it have been a better type of situation for Lashley? Something that was a little more substantial. It just didn't feel like this made sense with OVE. Honestly, why would Callahan mess with Lashley? For what? What big fish would you fry with him? Because he hasn't messed with OVE. He never even looked at them. And because I never did anything with him, it felt like it was stupid. Unless you're going to say that the OVE is stalking him. You should have did this over a 2 or 3 week period. A 2 or 3 week tapings. Here, it didn't make any sense. It just feels like it was from a leftover. Which that does make sense. The leftover writing makes sense, which was garbage. And this feud is garbage, and I just got to say it. Now, one thing that wasn't garbage too much was LAX going up against the Cult of Lee. I, the Cult of Lee, here solemnly swear that I am going to rule everything. And that is Trevor Lee, the modern day, well, I don't want to call him a modern day caveman, but the modern day Neanderthal, because he's just as hairy as one. In the end, we got a good match, and it makes sense. Trevor Lee and Conley are trying their best to get those titles. And now they're messing with LAX. And it really makes sense why they're doing it. So the only issue I have with the entire thing is that Santana and Ortiz didn't talk. But then on the flip side, I didn't hear anything from Conan, so I was happy anyway. But in the end, LAX won. No, I'm going to say LAX won. I'm shocked that the Cult of Lee won. That's the reason why I got LAX mixed up. And you guys tell me below, why do you like LAX? As it stands right now, where the guys who wrestle the most, which is Ortiz and Santana, don't talk. Tell me what makes LAX so much fun as they are now. If it's just the talking from Conan, I don't see it. If it's something else, I want to know what it is, because I don't want to hate LAX, but I hate it because of what's going on with Santana, Ortiz, and Conan. I'm just being honest. Now, we got a vid package about Rosemary dealing with, well, a vid package about Rosemary dealing with Hanaya. Here's the problem. I think it would have been better if one of them had shown up and did a video segment than just a video package. Of course, they couldn't do it because Hanaya is not there. But you could have done something with Rosemary and you could have recorded it. That's just being truthful. Now, next week, they're going to have the blow-off, which I think is what caused Hanaya to leave in the first place. I could be wrong. You guys tell me below. Now, Brian Cage. Now, I didn't say anything about him the last week and the week before that. I didn't want to say anything until at least I saw enough to really have an opinion. Now, I had heard about Brian Cage being the Machine. I had heard that he was something really hot and important, but I never actually saw him, so I could not really say if he was great or not. So after destroying 2 jobbers, I can say that he gets the job done, and that drill, what is it called again? Oh my goodness. The drill claw, that just looks ugly. That looks like a tombstone pile driver made into basically a, what is it, not a falcon arrow, I can't remember the name of it. Which one was it? I can't remember the name of that move where you would basically reverse power bomb somebody. I can't remember the move. You guys can tell me below, but it looks nasty. He looked like that guy, what was this guy's name? What was his name? Is Hunter Law. That's a name that you can't forget. And I did. But it was something. That was something. Now, the first of the matches that were in one of the other promotion is from Matt Sidell versus Petey Williams. And it was from Destiny Pro Wrestling or Destiny World Wrestling. I can't remember. They said it different ways. Either Destiny Pro Wrestling or Destiny World Wrestling. You guys can tell me which one it is. Now, I'm not sure which one it is. I'm just not sure. It's in Canada, but the problem is they said it in two different ways. I'm not sure which one is correct. Because when you look at the ring apron, it says Destiny World Wrestling. And then they're saying Destiny Pro Wrestling. I don't know which one it is. But was the match good? Yes, it was a good match. And Petey Williams did pull out a couple of other moves other than the Canadian Destroyer, which I'm glad. If you do the same move every single time, it gets old really quickly. So it's good to see that he did not use the Canadian Destroyer. He tried to set it up, but then tried to go and do other moves into going into Canadian Destroyer, which is okay. In the end, Petey did not win. Not surprised. But here's something interesting. You get Matt pulling out a parchment. He said a scroll. I'll say a parchment. Even though it's not a parchment, I want to say a parchment. And he says that his advisor, spiritual advisor, said that when Crossroads comes on, March 8th, he will be facing Ishimori for the X Division title, and he will be the first X Division and, well, he didn't say it exactly, but that's what it comes down to, and IGC champion. Well, being the X Division and Impact Grand Champion would be interesting. But does it mean it would be sponsored and promoted? That's going to be a question. How far are they going to go with Matt Sidell? And are they going to bring out the spiritual advisor? Is it someone we know? Could it be someone you would not expect? Could it be someone that you think, no, it can't be that person? Who knows? It could be that type of person. I don't know who it is, but it's got to be someone that's special for Matt Sidell to be like this. Because if it's just a ham and egger, it's going to be boring. Now, there was no Allie. There was no Law of Ness. They did talk a little bit about Allie. But in the end, next week, we're going to see, a consummation or something. Or a condition of Laura Van Ness to her title. Because I guess now the title's the only thing that she can love because it'll never leave her as long as she keep winning. I don't know. Moose versus Alberta Apache at, Future Star Wrestling in, Las Vegas. Now, I'll say this. The only issue I had with it was the lighting. The lighting was a little too bright over the ring, so it was hard to see their faces. But other than that, the lighting was more than good enough compared to the last time they did another promotion, and that was on their, monthly event. Shine for one of the promotions. At least here you could see. And it wasn't a bad match. In the end, I was surprised that Alberta Apache won. I really thought it should have been Moose, because Moose should be lined up to actually be one of the contenders for the future. But it's going to be Alberto. I don't know if that was the wisest thing to do. Honestly, he lost a lot of steam in the last 4 months easily because of how the booking was. So, Moose is better booked than him in some cases. So, I'd rather see Moose than Alberto. That's just being honest. Jimmy J... No. This is for the last. I almost made the mistake. This is last. I'm not going there yet. Let me see if I'm forgetting anything. We have Johnny Impact versus EC3 with Tyrus for the #1 contendership. Well, not for the #1 contendership. At least from what I understand, Johnny was willing to put up his #1 contendership just to show he was that good. So that's what it was. If EC3 won, he got the contendership. If EC3 lost, he kept the contendership. I don't know if it was really wise to do it, even though it was a really good match. I'm not gonna lie, it was a good match. You can see the difference between the two styles. EC3 is a big bulky guy that's not really great as a grappler wrestler, but it doesn't mean his power can't really offset it to balance it. So you get the Johnny, who is a high-flying wrestler who can do some grappling. So you can see the vast difference between their styles and who was better in this match. Now, I love me EC3. That's my boy. But Johnny, because he wasn't so bulky, was able to get the moves off a lot better than EC3. It's just obvious because he's a slender guy. He's not really big and bulky. He looked better. But it doesn't mean I didn't have an interest in seeing EC3 go up against, well, if I had to choose, at least right now, the best person to go up against Austin Aries would have been EC3. I'm being honest. I would have liked to see the Johnny go up against him later in the year. Not now. But because the roster is probably so small, this is what you get. So Johnny Impact won, and also Tyrus, no, two things. I gotta say two, not one, two. First thing, Tyrus is no longer with EC3 because EC3 couldn't get the job done, got mad at Tyrus, shoved him, Tyrus shoved him onto the floor, and in the end, he left. I didn't get a full shot of that. Maybe, I think I did get a full shot, I'm not sure. I don't think I got him walking away with his butt showing, but I don't really need that. This is the second thing I noticed in that match. We got Tank Top Girl. My baby. Finally, I got a clean shot of her. But I noticed something. If you see these two shots, they're in my face. Now they're gone. She did not like to be filmed. She's a beautiful woman. She is really a good-looking woman with some puffy hair like a lion. But she did not enjoy being looked at by the camera. And she is camera-friendly. So that's an interesting thing to see from this woman. I still love me the Tank Top Girl. Even if she's a really skinny girl, I don't care. She looks good. But in the end, that's what we saw with that. And now, finally, it's over. Let's go through the real story of this Impact that made this Impact fun. Jimmy Jacob. Now, I didn't say anything about the destruction of Joseph Park's office, mostly because I did forget. But then I thought, how far are they really going to go with it? So, on top of not really saying it in previous video, because I did forget, I wasn't sure if I should say it at all. Like, I was going to do a debate of the week on this, seeing how far they're going to go with Congo Kong and Joseph Park and the Abyss. Because, as it stands, I want to see Abyss with a manager. He needs one. So, what do we get? We get this. Jimmy Jacob comes out with Kong, says he wants Abyss, and I was surprised. I was surprised when Grammie Jenny comes out. A real woman who has missing teeth like Joseph Park. I don't know if they did that on purpose. I think they did do that on purpose, or this was just like coincidence. But the woman's missing, only has 2 teeth here and the rest are missing here. And I'm going like, what, really? You would go down that route showing why Joseph Parker missing teeth in his bottom of his mouth? You see him botching because it was awesome. And kind of insulting at the same time. But in the end, Grammie Jenny, I'm botching because this was kind of cool. She says, leave my grandson alone. He's like my child. Leave him alone. And he says, I don't care about your child. I want Abyss. Smack in the face to Jimmy. And then Kong is ready to destroy her. Got Joseph Park coming out. Basically saying, do not touch Grammie Jenny. Jenny. I'm saying Grammie, Jenny. Granny Jenny, don't crush my Grammie. I think I might use that. Oh, I might use that. Don't crush my granny. No, don't crush my Jenny. But in the end, he gets his ass kicked. And now next week, Joseph Parker's going up against Congo Kong. This has to lead, it must lead, to Congo Kong facing the Abyss. It's the only way it's going to make sense. But then it needs more. Because just having the Abyss back, particularly if, and someone try to remember this, because if the Abyss does return at, what is it, Crossroads or next week, he's going to want a Monsters Balls match, which is not the thing he needs. He doesn't need a Monsters Ball match. He needs a signature match with a manager. Now, it could be Granny Jenny, or maybe his cousin Chandler, or Brother Michaels, or Father Michael. I keep forgetting he's a father or brother. I think it's Father Michaels. But one of those three have to be at ringside being his support for the Abyss. And I'm not talking about Joseph Park. Abyss needs someone in his corner. He just does when he reemerges. I just don't know if they'll do that. And that's kind of putting me down in this respect for the future. Because the Abyss really needs a manager. He needs, someone must be the Abyss's manager. They need to give him a manager again. He needs one. Or better yet, what I'm thinking, let Congo Kong and Abyss become tag team and use Jimmy Jacob as their manager, and I'll be fine with it. But like I said, unless you got enough tag teams, this won't work. But I'm hoping for the latter. Let Abyss and Congo Kong become a championship match monster, whatever. Let them come together, let them destroy everybody, and let them be the Impact Tag Team Champions. That's what I'm hoping the final aim is. But this is just me. Have a good day, have a good night. Peace.